is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations, and Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations, and Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 21, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 36. Consider becoming a member of AM 950 this holiday season. We can't keep the progressive voices that matter to you on air without your help. As a thank you, you'll receive our 6th annual AM 950 calendar. That's am950radio.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Cody Cup, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. And we have our friend Arvina Martin coming on here in just a moment. First, I just want to say a big Pinigigi thank you again for everybody who supported us at our store, at Dayton's, at the Dayton's Market, at Native Roots Trading Post. And also I want to give a big shout out to the people that supported us at Southdale with Wendy's Art, and just a great time. And thank you so much for supporting us. And I also want to just mention this again before I bring our friend Arvina on. I want to bring up Paul Metzta is going to be live on stage with the legendary band Cats Under the Stars on Sunday, December 28th at the Parkway Theater. A show starts at 7 p.m. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary as the original Twin Cities jam band. I remember those days. I'd go down there and bring my trumpet and jam too. That was a great time. Be part of history. The show is being recorded for a live album, and there's going to be two huge sets, an acoustic blues set, followed by electric band set. And I just want everybody to know again, our friend Paul Metzta is going to be live on stage with this legendary band, Cats Under the Stars, on December 28th at the Parkway Theater. Show starts at 7 p.m. and we'll see you all there. I want to bring our friend Arvina Martin on right now. Arvina, great to see you. I want to say happy holidays. And I really want to say is thank you so much for what you do for the community and your community and our radio community here, and bringing the truth and things like that to Native Roots Radio, and then also what you do you do for our Democratic relatives. Oh,
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. This is Christmas Eve, isn't it? I think.
yes, this will be
Yeah.
this will be the last live show until what's I guess until Monday, or no.
Okay.
Yeah, Monday. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
We're getting ready for Christmas. We're getting ready for Christmas, and it's going to be a great thing. And it's always great to have, as you know, little kids. I feel like Christmas is for little kids, and it brings a little kid out of me too.
Absolutely. And, I have Ho Chunk Wei, she would be one of my daughters, has her 3 kids, and they are 5, 3, and 1.5. And so that is such a fun age to buy presents for. And I just kept thinking, oh, this would have been so cool to play with. Oh my gosh, kids these days. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to see their faces and when they see their presents.
Exactly, and our grandkids are 17 or 16 or 17 months old, and so I don't know if they'll get it. They know people and things like that, and we're their people, so it'll be just fun to be there and give them the gifts and the things that they'll be playing with over at our house. And then I think the next year is when they'll be more awake about what's happening. But this year they're still young, and there's still a lot of fun, and there's 2 of them, so we always have to be on alert because one runs this way and the other one runs the other way. And
That's how they work. And yeah, this is probably the last year of like tearing the paper being the most exciting part of Christmas, and just
Yeah.
destroying things and just ripping things apart.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, but I also want to get into talking about your specialty and the things that you do, and we'll talk about that later because it's really important. And we talk about this a lot with Heather Keeler too. That you know, young warriors like yourself can be hired in different ways to help educate and speak and do great things. We don't like doing just what is that again? Land acknowledgments. Those are for them. We talk real history and real truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love being able to work with organizations that want to especially reach out to Native communities and not really know what they are supposed to do, or not know anything about tribes. And we are communities that those organizations are supposed to be, reaching out to and serving. And so I really am happy to be able to kind of teach about tribal government, a little like very basic stuff on tribal government and the best ways to interact, particularly like with organizing and campaigns, and why it's important for elected officials to work with tribes and make sure that people that are running for office in particular know that we as Native people are not just another constituency group. We are not certainly not a special interest group. We are a group of people that has a very special relationship with our system of government, and that it is not special rights. These are rights that our leaders before us sought to protect, to make sure that their descendants, so us, that we would be able to have access to these rights that our ancestors did, despite being put into this American system much different from our own tribal communities. So making sure that they know that, especially governmental organizations or units, elected officials, leaders know what what it is or how our tribal governments operate, and knowing that they are not the same, the same across the board, and that there's now 575 federally recognized tribes, and something that works with one tribe or one community may not work in another community, and you need to be prepared for that.
Absolutely. And we'll give out your information again a couple times. Why don't you do a quick one right now, and then we'll do it in the next couple segments too, just so people that are driving can pull over and write this down on their
Yeah. I think the easiest way, or the most direct way to get hold of me at this point is through my LinkedIn. You can find me Arvina Martin. I am currently the only Arvina Martin. As someone who has another Ho Chunk Wei daughter whose name is also Arvina Martin, that will not be the case in a couple of years, but I am the only Arvina Martin on LinkedIn. Find me there. My inbox is nowhere near as crazy as my email is, and I would love to talk to you more.
Yeah, perfect. And we'll bring that up again. I want to just maybe talk a little bit what we're going to talk about, because we got about 2 minutes left in the segment, but I don't know, maybe towards the end of the show we can talk a little football here, but what a game. I don't think we've talked since then, have we?
I don't think so, but it was that, I mean, watching that game, I think the only thing that didn't happen that is crazy was there was no safety. Nobody scored a safety. But everything else, with several, with the wind, several attempts at drives that were thwarted within the red zone, and in the red zone of the red zone, so within the 5, the game, the Packers Bears game did not go the way I wanted, obviously, but I am very proud of my team, and I can say my team because I'm a shareholder.
That's right.
I'm proud of the way our team stepped up. A lot of players that don't play, we normally, we had Jordan Love get taken out for concussion protocol, and we are hoping that he is okay. Malik Willis and all kinds of other players really took up the mantle and made the game exciting, and it was fun, and it was that black and blue division stuff that I always talk about. You never know what's going to happen in those division games.
Wow, we'll talk more about this, but that's a good chunk of talking right there about it. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to be right back after the short break with our friend Arvina Martin at the pre-Christmas Eve show. We'll be right back. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Diani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations, and Diani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
I'm I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are here with our friend Arvina Martin, Emerge Wisconsin CEO, and our Wisconsin political analyst. And we really enjoy having you and talking to you about what's happening. There's a plethora of things here, but one of the most upsetting things for me, and we talk a little bit about this, Arvina, is that, you know, we're really disappointed in the mass media. And that's why it's important to have you on the show and our other guests and other shows on Civic Media, AM 950, and all the other stations that we're on, is to talk about things that are really happening and not edit things. And one of my all-time favorite shows, and I guess networks too, is 60 Minutes. And what happened there is just, I'm not surprised, but I'm really sad, because that show was just a stalwart of news and things. And, you know, of course they did fluff stories here that were fun and stuff like that over the years. I know Leonard Peltier was on there a few times. So there's hard-hitting news and getting the truth, and now it's being edited out by somebody that's not even a news person. She's like a blogger or something, so she doesn't even know how a newsroom works.
Yeah. I mean, 60 Minutes has been known to be that bastion. My face is frozen on the screen. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yes.
But okay, good. Just making sure. So 60 Minutes was always that, like, that stalwart, you know, the place where you knew, like, they might not go after the juiciest, but they are going to go after you know, a story, and they really attack it kind of in a more long form way. You know, kind of like reading an article out of the Atlantic versus reading an article on CNN. And they've always been known to be like, nobody complained about them being biased until, you know, Donald Trump realized that they saw through him, and then then they were bad. And you're right, this is all due to the leadership of Bari Weiss, who again is not like a professional journalist, but she is the CBS editor-in-chief, and she pulled the story saying that you know, she got more personally involved in this story than editors normally would, and then said, oh, well, you know, we need to get more information. Oh, this is not complete. And killed the story basically right before, like hours before it was supposed to air. And apparently, I haven't seen it, but that particular story, I believe, was leaked or was shown in Canada, and you can find it online. So that story is out there about how folks are being treated in these the Salvadorian prisons, I believe. You know, and it's a story that is very important and should be important to all of us as Americans. You know, these actions are supposedly being taken in our names, and if we do not like them, we should be talking to people and telling people this is not okay, and leaning on our lawmakers and making sure that those that represent us know that as Americans, we're not going to stand for this kind of treatment of human beings. And you know, that's the last thing the Trump administration wants.
Absolutely. And it's amazing, and I'm thank goodness that it has been leaked. I think it was leaked in Canada or played in Canada, and then downloaded, and it's been put on some other websites, including YouTube. I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but I heard some excerpts, and boy, it's damning what they're doing. You know, they're bringing these people into prison and without any kind of due process, and the next thing you know, they're going to some other country, and they're being treated like crap, and they're guilty before they're innocent. And it's I don't know. I want to say it's un-American, but we know we do waterboarding over the years and things like that. But this is something that I guess I'm more focused too on the news part too, because it's very sad that that 60 Minutes is gone this way. And I think we just lost Arvina. So yeah, and it's just a drag. And if people don't know what's going on, it's a segment on 60 Minutes on Trump immigration policy, and it was leaked. First, it was not leaked in the sense of they were advertising that this piece was going to show up, and then they took it down. And there's been some emails out there that I heard that the producers were talking about, but it was a news segment about the Trump administration's immigration policy that was abruptly pulled from 60 Minutes, was mistakenly aired on a TV app after the last minute decision not to air it touched public debate about journalists and independence. And I don't know, Arvina, if you heard that, but
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay, good. It said that the little program said that I no longer had a camera or a microphone. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have both. But we'll stick with the microphone and I won't mess with anything. but yeah, what yes, this is stuff that is happening. We can say that it's American based on our country's past actions. But we know what the ideals of this country are, and we know that we should be striving to achieve those. And so, those to me are not actions that are consistent with the ideals we are supposed to have as Americans.
Right.
And whether it's very sad. And they obviously chose that location in El Salvador because of the cruelty of the situation. They're not doing this in the best interest of the people that they are deporting from the US. They are not concerned with the well-being of these folks. Lots of these people who, we've heard stories even before this of people that are being deported that had applied for asylum, through proper channels, being deported, knowing that them being back in their home countries could lead to their deaths.
Yeah.
And
that
it's so that dangerous for them.
Not only that, Arvina, I believe a lot of people, and I've heard news talk about a lot of people that voted for Trump and feel like they've been doing the right thing, and yet they still get deported because they're maybe in the final stages of becoming a citizen, or they've been here 30 years and they're married, have kids. And, a lot of our Hispanic people voted for Trump, and it's an amazing thing. And, the El Salvador prison called Terrorism Confinement Center, or CECOT, is an aggressive crackdown on immigration that Trump started, and it's more on brown and black people. It's not about immigration anymore, if it ever was.
Yeah, I mean, Trump during the campaign would say, we're going after the worst of the worst. And if they were going after the worst of the worst, kids wouldn't have to worry about going to school and either being taken themselves or coming home from school and finding out that their parents have been taken. I mean, that the worst of the worst doesn't mean, or some shouldn't mean that, in order to protect children and families, that other folks, citizens, and people using their white privilege for good use, for a good purpose, to have like walking school buses to school, so no kids are unattended, and being available for kids at schools where there may be higher populations of immigrant students, legal and undocumented. So they thought, and all of us were shouting, this is not going to stop at the worst of the worst. This
Right.
is opening. This is the opening of the door to a crackdown on all immigration. Forgetting how many people come to this country in desperate times, and they are not leaving because they're like, oh, I'm going to game the system and I'm going to be a millionaire. They're these folks that are fleeing and seeking asylum here are doing so because they fear for their lives. They fear for their families' lives and for their families' safety. There are lots of people that flee for economic reasons because they cannot support their families and are trying to do the right thing for them. And those are the folks that are being hurt. And people are, folks that voted for it are finally starting to see that too, that, their neighbor, the person that comes and, people that they get to know because they come and offer services. Lots of people that, have folks that come clean their houses, or that they get to know, or that come and maintain their yards, and they're like, wait, I know this person. They're not a bad person. Why are they? And so people's spouses even, it's just
Exactly.
where we knew it was going to go.
Well, hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, and Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, and our Wisconsin political analyst, national, as we are talking right now. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the Kennedy Center and also ships and trucks and boats named after this guy. When is it going to end? Hey, it's about to be 2026. That's when it's going to end. We're right back. This is Native Roots Radio with Arvina Martin. The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern, Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations in Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern, Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations in Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out the restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 21, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 36. For as good as mom's cooking is, you're going to get tired of those leftovers eventually, and you deserve a break. Visit an Eat Local Minnesota restaurant for a fantastic meal with a variety of cuisines. Check out the list at eatlocalminnesota.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hecha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and our friend Arvina Martin will be back with us in a moment here. She's rebooting her computer because we love to put up our updates here on TikTok and all over social media, YouTube, and things like that. And it's great to have her face talking. And so she's rebooting her computer. And I want to talk to her about the Epstein files that are just coming out here. And one thing is really, really interesting. So if you black out anything on a PDF file, and I saw this on somebody that I follow on the computer, is that you can find out what words are being retracted if it's done on a PDF file. And this person who I follow was able to show us on video how to do it, and also it's really interesting how you can do it, and then how the words pop up. And so that it's sloppy work by the federal government and Pam Bondi and all those people. I just it's amazing thing. Welcome back, Arvina. You're looking good. Thank you so much for being back on. I was just talking about the Epstein files, and there was somebody that I follow on social media who, if you retract something in a PDF file, you can find out what the words are. There's ways to do that. And he was doing that to the Epstein files today. And I was like going, wow. So that's interesting.
It makes me like, I kind of have to roll my eyes. I'm like, of course they redacted hundreds of pages of things and left it so they could be unredacted. Like these are not serious people. Like, they have serious consequences, but they don't know how to do things, apparently. And that's, while it's good in some ways that we can see what they're trying to hide, there are probably things in there that need to be hidden, and can be accessed. So, it's really disappointing to see this kind of ineptitude, in our federal government. Like, come on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they released more files today, and that's and what I thought was really interesting too is what Bill Clinton said yesterday. And I don't know if you caught that, but he's like, I never was on the island. Release the files, release everything, so that kind of surprised me in a good way.
Yeah, and I kind of think it shows the difference between the sides in this. Conservatives like to yell, what if Clinton is in there? Yeah, are you going to be so excited then? Be like, yeah, like, tell us. We want to know. We want to be able to hold people accountable. And he is mentioned, he has a certain reputation, but it is heartening to see him calling for full disclosure, full accountability, and full transparency of what is in these files, and who is it, who is in them, and what they
Oh,
have.
it's freezing up again. Maybe
I'm
it's
still here if you can hear me. Let me try shutting
yeah.
off my camera instead of it saying
Okay.
I. There we go.
Okay. Cool. Well, do you know who Deanna Patrick is, the race car driver?
Oh, Danica Patrick, yeah.
Yeah. So she's a big Trumper, and then I just heard that she was like all over the fact of DEI should be, get rid of it. They should get rid of it. And I feel like she was really promoted as a DEI in a really, really good way. I mean, she only won one race, but it was amazing what she was doing. So I can't believe the hypocrisy of these Trumpers.
Yeah, and we know based on statistics that there are or that the largest beneficiaries as a group of DEI initiatives have been white women. Diversity initiatives have led to more employment and more opportunities, particularly for white women. And she has clearly benefited from some of these programs. And these DEI programs are not quotas. They are not, you need to hire a black guy for this role. They are, you need to reach out beyond your typical hiring pools and make sure that people know about this in spaces outside your own bubble. That's basically what these DEI initiatives are for, and making sure that opportunities are accessible, and that people who maybe can't afford to apply for scholarships or have access to applying to things like that, making sure that they do have that access. They can access these services, these opportunities that are a good fit for them. And that's how these DEI programs work. And it's just a matter of willful ignorance. I think that they just want to keep saying that this is for this is quotas, that this is unfair to white men. They've been in the loop a lot longer than any other group has. They are the loop. Let's be real.
Well,
And
I just
yeah,
want to say, with her, it was a celebration. I thought that it was great that she was competing, and now hearing how she's talked in the last year and just recently, it's like, come on, really?
and that's so opposite of like my own mantra of like lift while you climb. She got to climb and then she pulled the ladder up. She's trying to pull the ladder up behind her. She had the ladder, but like is trying to kick anybody that's trying to get on that ladder too. She's like, no, this is my ladder. I'm bringing it up now. And then no one else benefits. And like, I feel like in anything that I do, that kind of lift while you climb mentality is like one of the most important things about doing the work that I do, is helping other Native people, other women, folks that are underrepresented in whatever fields, that they have the opportunities to participate in these things, just like anybody else. And I always want to bring new people along with me, get them excited about politics, about being civically engaged, so that they can do the same and keep going on that ladder, and that we have just all of these resources of people doing this kind of work and all kinds of work that help our communities, and the whole like bringing up the ladder behind you is so counter to that. It's absolutely disappointing to see from somebody who benefited from it.
Yeah, and I just gotta say this too. One of the exciting things, Arvina, I feel like, is 2026 is coming up here in a week. And we've been talking about that, it seems like forever, especially the way this dumpster fire has been going on since January with the orange one and all his minions, people that should not even be in the positions that they're in. I mean, you got a lady that's a head of education, that's her claim to fame was that she ran a big corporation called WWE Wrestling with her husband. But they're just there to take apart the education Department of Education, because it's a bad thing. And I just have hope for 2026. I don't know where it's going to lead us, but I really feel hopeful, and that's coming right around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, in Wisconsin, we are currently, this is election season. We are in the time period where candidates that are running for election or running for office in our spring elections in April, they have to circulate their nomination papers right now. So there are candidates that are out there that are going to their neighbors, going to community groups, trying to get support, letting people get to know them as candidates and who they are, and asking for their support by getting their signatures so that they can have their name on the ballot. So like we're in it. We are in 2026 already. And there's in Wisconsin, we are going to have another state Supreme Court election. We have a great progressive candidate in Judge Chris Taylor, former state representative Chris Taylor, someone who, when I worked in the state assembly, I worked with, she worked very hard to get a legislative committee to work on the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous people. Of course, because she is a progressive Democrat, and under the Speaker Robin Voss, that was not part of his agenda, so it never happened. And that work had to be done by the Attorney General's office. But she is running for state Supreme Court. She is smart as heck. She is someone who has great empathy for people, and I'm excited that she's running. And hopefully you get to talk to her on your show someday.
Well, let me tell you this, Arvina, as you were talking about that, I'm just so proud of myself, and you've known me long enough now to know that, well, I have a little problem reading, but I can say Protasewicz.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we really get to learn these Polish last names.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I had a friend in college who was half Native Hawaiian and half Polish. And when she started, she was so impressed that I could pronounce her last name, because it is very Polish. And in Hawaii, there are not a lot of Polish people, so people would stumble over it, and she was so impressed. I was like, I'm from Wisconsin. I can figure out Polish names. So a little side note.
Well, and I imagine too that you can do powwow dancing too, and also the polka.
Indeed I can. Yeah.
Hey, we got to take a quick break, Arvina. We're getting goofy here just before the winter break here. This is Native Roots Radio, and we're here with our friend Arvina Martin. And wow, we only have one more segment left, so maybe we'll be talking a little sports. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Gianni Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations, and Gianni Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org. Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Here we are with our pre-Christmas Eve day here, and we were here with our friend Arvina Martin, our Merge Wisconsin person, CEO, and also our Wisconsin political analyst and our go-to person nationally. Arvina, let's just talk a little bit here. The Packers are 9-5-1. Doesn't look like they're going to win the division, but it looks like they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I hope so. And I hope that we're healthy, by the end of that last game. I heard them talking about, we were down to our last tight end, or we had one more tight end because somebody got injured. And then after Jordan Love got injured, then Malik Willis was playing, and then he got shaken up, and it was very concerning because we don't have another quarterback after, who is going to play quarterback. So, I'm really hoping our players are having a chance to rest their bodies and heal a bit, because everybody is banged up. It seems like we are particularly banged up this year. And I'm fingers crossed, but there were lots of hero efforts going on in that game on both sides, and it was a roller coaster, and I had fun watching it. Even though we lost, I was entertained the whole time. Obviously not entertained by injuries. Those were unfortunate, and again, I'm hoping that those players are able to heal up quickly and strongly. And but it was a fun game. It was like what I remember as a kid of just being like, oh my God, every play being massive.
Well, one of the things that about the Packers is hopefully they can hold on to their players, because I know the last 2 years we've been talking about this, is that they have one of the youngest, if not the youngest team. I think they were the youngest team in the playoffs last year. And so that's really good for the future of Green Bay, that they are still young and they got this great quarterback. Again, I talked to you a couple weeks ago and gave you a list of all the quarterbacks that the Vikings have had since 1992, and then I went and did the list of the Packers, and there was 3 of them.
Yeah, and I can remember like their eras perfectly, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, absolutely. I actually think the Packers were the youngest team on average in the entire NFL, like not just the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I just know, like, going back to our former quarterback's words of relax, I'm trying to relax. But I know that this team has it in them. They're scrappy. And again, they're learning. Everybody's new, and with injuries, we've got people playing more than maybe they anticipated. And you just have to be able to make these changes and be flexible and be able to insert people into these roles. And I think that, like, for the most part, Malik Willis did a really great job leading the offense. He did not look like a guy that sits on the bench all the time. Like, he knew patterns, he knew the offense and ran it very capably. But it didn't turn out. It was a night for the Bears. It was a night for Chicago, and you win some, you lose some. But it's also a game that I think is going to be one that, like, they add to all of those clip reviews when they review. They go over the largest or the longest running sports rivalry. And I think this game, I'm positive that the game on Saturday is going to be part of that canon and is going to be talked about alongside with the double donk and the Brett Favre start, and Aaron Rodgers owning all of that stuff is part of that canon and part of that history. And I think we just saw some of that history being made right there. So,
well, I'm reading here on Lombardi Avenue that Jordan Love's still a doubt for Week 17, but is making good progress through the concussion protocol. So there's still hope, but he's still, those concussions aren't anything to mess with. I know, the helmets are better now, but still, you get your neck snapped and hitting the ground hard. It's gonna happen. It's a rough game.
Yeah, and I think that people don't realize how little it takes to be concussed. I've played roller derby for over a decade. I am currently rehabbing injuries, so I'm not currently playing, but I'm hoping to be able to get back in shape to play. But I've had concussions and none of them have been from roller derby. I knocked my head between the frame of my door. I couldn't open my car door all the way. And I knocked my head back and forth between that and was concussed for weeks. It wasn't a big blow, so it can just be a rapid change in direction, and so I'm glad that he is proceeding through the concussion protocol, but this is where I am a human being before I am a Packers fan, and I hope that they let him rest enough and do not pressure him to come back before he is ready, because you only get one brain, and these NFL players give so much of their bodies, and likely experience micro concussions several times a year. So we need to be thoughtful, and we need to make sure that we do not put that kind of pressure. Like, it's the playoffs, the whole Brett Favre Iron Man era. No more of that. If you are injured, you heal up, especially when it comes to your brain. And I won't be upset in terms of we're going to lose. Upset if we get Malik Willis starting. I feel fairly confident with him at the helm. And I hope that knowing that we have a capable second string quarterback it gives the team and gives him and his doctors, the ability to make sure he rests his brain long enough that he can actually, heal.
So is it the top 7, I believe, slot for the NFC standings that would head to the playoffs? And right now, Green Bay is in the 7th spot at 9-5-1, and then behind them is the Lions at 8-7, and then Tampa Bay at 7-8 in 9th. I believe it's 7 teams, right, that go into the playoffs.
I thought so. Yeah, I think that's right. There's there's 3 division champions, and then there are the 4 wild cards.
So they have to almost win out and hope that the Vikings take care of the Lions and they stay ahead of Tampa Bay. So maybe next week you'll be a Vikings fan if they take care of the Lions. Oh, what?
Yeah, right? I mean, that's weird.
Hey, Arvina, we got less than a minute. I just want to again say how I appreciate you, and please give your information again this last minute here that we have in the show, that people, and I know people are always looking, our allies are always out there looking for somebody to come and talk Indian Talk 101.
Yeah, yes. Find me on LinkedIn, Arvina Martin, and let's talk about things that we can do. I can be flexible about things that I can offer. We can talk about all kinds of stuff related to Native people, sovereignty and storytelling and politics. Like, let's talk. Send me a message.
Yeah, and you can see how great a talker she is by being on the show. It's seriously I really appreciate you. Happy holidays. We'll talk to you real soon. Give my best to everybody there in God's country. This is Native Roots Radio signing off. We're still here. We are the 7th generation. Vote like your life depends on it. We'll see you very soon. Ho-wah.
Metro Transit has immediate